for taking time to do this interview.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, how do I pronounce your name?
Uh,
Haris?
Harissa,
Harisa?
yeah, it's okay.
Okay. And you were telling me that you're not Norwegian, or you are?
No, I'm not Norwegian. I was born in Iran and I came to Norway when I was 14 and a half.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I don't have any Norwegian blood.
Okay. Oh, heck. I was hoping because my father's ancestors were Norwegian.
Have you been to Norway?
I've never been to Norway, but I've been to Germany and, around the Western Europe.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Never been to Thailand, or which I would love to go. But I'm unable to travel on an airplane because of my lung condition, and that's why I'm so raspy. Like I told you, I have to drink a lot of water. So I'm concerned about being on an airplane, what it would do to my lungs. So that's why.
Yeah, because it's much more dry air up there.
I was a flight attendant for 16 years.
Oh, really?
So it's very dry air.
Mm.
And so if you have difficulty with breathing, it's probably not advisable. So anyway, it's okay.
Is it so hot at your place that you have this fan behind you?
I have a what?
You have the air fan. Is it so hot?
Yes, it's hot here.
Really?
So yeah, I had to go take a shirt off, and I had to. Oh, it's so warm here. I had to turn my fan on all the way.
Oh, here it's cold. It's winter.
Is it annoying you?
No, 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 no. It's okay. I was just wondering.
Okay.
Norway is so cold.
I can let me move it out of the direction. Maybe is that better? Hold on.
No, actually, it was okay like that.
Yeah, I know, but it's annoying me now that you said it.
Oh, okay.
Now that you said it, I see it, and it's rather annoying. Okay. Okay. Now let me get my chair situated. Okay. Oh, you can still see it. A little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
Okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
Let's just start because I came across your post on one of the Facebook groups and I have been so interested in knowing about the near death experience. And I went to your website. It was a closed site, so I could not read anything. And then I texted you, and you were gentle enough to answer. Maybe you were kind enough to answer. And then I got the two interviews you have had before, and I started watching. And then I thought, I don't want to watch the whole thing because then I
Right.
so much.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you want to go on your own
Yeah, so I was just
insight.
curious, like,
Yeah,
if I was going to ask you, you were working as a nurse before, yes?
I was. I was basically a psychiatric nurse. I'm still a nurse. I've been a nurse for over 28 years, and I was a flight attendant before that. So I was a nurse, and it explained a lot of the biological things that I was going through, but it didn't explain the near death experience. Um, so,
Because
you
you
want me to
were
say?
away for 30 minutes, yeah?
I'm sorry?
You were away for 30
Okay.
minutes?
Okay. My son, who was there with me, he said he called 911, and they came out and did CPR on me. And that's why I'm so raspy. He said they did CPR on me for over an hour. The medical records and my doctor said 30 minutes. I have a tendency to believe my son, and the reason is because when they arrived there, I was in East Texas, and it was midwinter, and East Texans don't know how to drive on ice, and I was 12 miles from the airport, from the hospital, not airport, and I knew when I collapsed that I picked a fine night to die because of the roads conditions. So it took them a while to get to the house. And then it took them, my son said it was a long time there. And then when they drove me to the house, to the hospital 12 miles away, uh, I think, which is about 24 kilometers, I think, um, it took them over an hour to get me there. And he told me he was following them and they'd stop and do CPR on me and then they'd start back up. And he said it was a long time. So I'm not exactly sure of the time, but biologically, I can tell you that my brain tissues died, a lot of them, and I write better than I speak. Excuse me. And I just like when you take a CPR class, a cardiac life support class, they tell you you've got 4 minutes. And if you're past the 4 minutes to give CPR, then you're likely going to have brain damage. And so that's what happened to me. The CPR didn't begin. And so anyway, I was in the hospital for 3 weeks and then I went through rehab for almost 3 years. And I went through rehab, and okay, I never realized how damaged I was because I thought I was going to get discharged from the hospital and go back to work as a nurse. Now, mind you, I hated nursing going in before my accident, and I couldn't understand after my accident why they wouldn't let me go back and do what I loved. And so it was kind of that dichotomy, that dual system, as I hate it, I love it. And so I couldn't understand at that point that I had brain injury and it was pretty severe. And so I do remember them sitting down there with me with word problems. And they'd go, Jane went to the store and she bought a loaf of bread and it was 10 cents. And then she bought a candy bar for 5 cents. Anyway, I had to add these little numbers up and I could never do it. I mean, that's easy. That's 15 cents, you know? But my brain couldn't calculate it. And if you put subtraction in it, oh, I I could not do it. And then they'd ask me to count back from 100 minus 7. Well, I couldn't do that before, you know?
What was the reason? Why did you pass away? What was the reason? You were
Okay. Okay, so I had respiratory arrest, I had a stroke, and I had a myocardial infarction all at once. Now, that was in February 8th and 9th. 8th and 9th. I'm really confused about the
which year are we talking about now?
2019. 2019. And so in November of 2018, I worked for Texas State Mental Hospital. And they said to me, you must have you must have a flu shot. Well, I was told in 2014 and before that, never get another flu shot because I have reactions. And so I said, well, I can't because I'm allergic to them. And they said, well, then wear a mask. And I said, I'm an asthmatic. I can't wear a mask for, that long of a day. And they said, well, you'll have to resign. Well, I didn't want to resign. So I said, okay, give me the flu shot. And so they gave me the flu shot, and within 24 hours, both of my eyes were dilated. Now, a negative symptom of flu vaccines, in one case that I could find, it said that one eye dilated. In my case, I had two dilated eyes. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not here to preach that. And people try to run away with my story and say I'm using it for I'm not here to do that. I have a true sensitivity to synthetic medications. And in fact, I had an herb medication last night that would help me to quit coughing. And I had a reaction to it last night. So I'm highly sensitive. So I can't run here and there and take medicines. And so but that doesn't mean that somebody else cannot.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not here to do that.
But I'm just wondering because your story is so amazing. I've been hearing so many near death experience stories on the YouTube
Mm,
because it's like a topic which is very, very interesting to me.
right, thank you.
Your story is somehow very different from the other ones I've heard because
Different.
most of the people they talk about seeing angels and they're seeing
Yeah.
tunnels and they are seeing this light and then you had a meeting with some other.
Okay. I have a perception, and I didn't have that from my near death experience, but I got that perception actually last year. And so it's this because actually it's a little frustrating to me when I read people who say they saw angels and so to me that's not a near death experience. That's whatever. But I had to be open to that, and I had to be okay. Why is it that they're experiencing what they experienced, and why did I experience what I experienced, and I didn't go to hell like they said I would? I had my own experience, and I had my own what I call heavenly, although it wasn't with angels, because I have a real thing about angels and all that, and that's my own personal beliefs from before my near death experience. So I leave all that alone. So I started thinking, well, why is it that so many people have different stories? And one day it came to me, it's because all of us perceive differently.
Mm.
Okay, it's our perceptions. It's our perspectives on life and how things should be. It's whatever you've been told since childhood, and you believe it, and you take it to the grave, and you relive it. I put all that away 30 years ago, and I truly accepted the fact that human beings came from aliens. And so that was my belief system.
Mhm.
Okay, I believe in the alien, um, the alien. Oh, I can't think of the word. That's from brain damage. It's the insemination of human beings. I believe that we were inseminated, possibly during the Sumerian times, and brought here, and we evolved here. That's my personal belief. I'm not saying it's truth, and I'm not putting that on anybody else. It's what I believe.
I heard Bashir was talking about it. He had an interview with a woman, and he was talking about the same thing that we are descendants from.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so I go back to, okay, I believe this and they believe that. So somewhere there's got to be an element of truth.
Mm.
And the only truth that I can find is we experience our perspectives. And so let's say you do believe in heaven and hell and all that, and you're so fearful of hell. That's why so many people experience hell during a near death experience because they believed it. Okay, I had some rough spots in my near death experience, but it was okay. Um, I got there and I argued with them. Well, I was supposed to have a tunnel, I was supposed to have lights, and I was supposed to have angels, just like they say in books. And they looked at me like, okay. And I realized then, oh, okay, it's not that way for everybody.
So when you say they, is it like did you see things like this is so interesting for me because I listened to the part when you with your other interviews. Is it like physical beings or is it how are they are looking?
On the back of my book, I drew a picture of my guide. That's how I remember it.
Mhm.
Okay. So
And
that's how.
yourself, are you like your physical being, or how would you describe it?
Okay. They're not physically in physical form. Okay. So they're in a light form, a frequency. And so He was very pale, no color in the face whatsoever, very white hair. And the eyes were illuminous blue, just crystal blue. And I didn't take the blue eyes meant anything because I think people who have gorgeous golden eyes are just incredible. So to me, his eyes were crystal blue. And so I guess that meant something to me. I don't know. But that's how I saw him.
It was only one person you met.
No, no, later in my near death experience. Okay, in the beginning of it. Okay, now I talk about this a lot. There's no time on the other side. And so I have to put it into a time so that it makes sense to me on this side. So I start off with it this, this, this. It didn't necessarily happen in that sequence. And I don't really remember exactly, but I start off with what I can understand and what I remember first. But I'm not saying it happened first. Okay, so suddenly I'm on the other, I'm just boom, there. Boop, here I am. And I look up and I see this huge mountain and it has blood coming down this. This is where I get scared. Okay, there's blood coming down the side. And I thought, what the heck is that? And I see this Asian guy with a big braided cap on, and he's like stirring the blood in the streams going by me. And I said, what is that? Am I in hell? And he said to me, do you think you're in hell? And I said, no. He said, then you're not. That later told me, it didn't tell me then, I remembered it. Okay, so that means whatever I think I am experiencing, that I'm there, and I have the ability to get myself out of that place. So people who find themselves in hell on the other side, they have the ability to pull themselves out because it's what we perceive. Our imagination is very important. So I then, okay, so I'm at that point. He said to me, and this wasn't the same guide. This was an Asian guy with a cap on. He said to me, every time you ascend, you will come back here. This is the cleansing pool. This is where I cleanse the brains, the thinking of people. And so every time you go up, you're going to come here and I'm going to cleanse you. I said, okay, is it going to hurt? He said, did it? I said, oh, okay. And so with that, I was gone and I was at the next place. And so the next place, and this is where it gets confusing, which came first, second, third. The next place.
Can I just ask a question? Did you feed yourself? Did you, or you were just I?
Okay. I saw myself as, hold on, I saw myself as this picture of me. And this is who I was throughout the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, that was me.
Wow.
That's how I saw me.
Yeah, okay, wow.
Okay, I was just that face.
Okay, wow.
And so I didn't realize that until afterwards because I got to a point, I'm deaf, so I wear hearing aids. And I said to my guide, I said, do you think you could heal my ears so I can hear properly while I'm here? He said, really? Are you sure you need them? And I'm like, well, mate. And I realized then there was no physical form. So I was hearing using telepathy. Okay, so there was no ears to hear. But I should have asked him, can you heal me if I go back so I can hear? But I didn't make it that far. And so anyway, I'm at the next part where I remember a doorway and this huge, round, gigantic rock, a boulder that was huge, wide, very, 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 maybe 3, 4 feet wide, and probably 18 feet tall, came from a distance in the desert, and I saw it, and it rolled up to my feet. Okay, so I go back to the picture. I'm here at the doorway of Earth, and I leave the doorway and I go out into the desert, and that huge boulder comes rolling up and it lands at my feet in front of me. And I look at it, I touch it to see if there's any hieroglyphics on it or anything. And all of a sudden, the 5 to 6 o'clock spot opens up and I walk through. And when I walked through, I was in that desert. And off in the distance, I saw my guide, the one in the back of the book. And I guess he kind of waved, and I waved at him. Then I went over towards him, and he was squatting on the ground, and he held up in his hand a bunch of sand and molecules that were so shiny. And I looked at them, and I thought, oh, those are beautiful. And it was the elements of the earth. When I came back from my near-death experience, I knew then I had to take a class in herbology because he was showing me how much I love those elements. And beneath my feet was a quantum field of thousands and thousands and billions of levels beneath our feet every day that we just can't even imagine. You know, there's things below us and above us and sideways and just going on that we can't perceive because we don't have the.
They are invisible for our eyes, yes?
Yeah, or we don't have the sensitivity or the emotional perception to pick it up. Like people that see things now, and I'm leaving out schizophrenics because I worked with them for many years, and I only saw one schizophrenic in all those years that I ever thought there might be something, because they don't remember. They have no knowledge of when they come out of their delusions. They have no knowledge of what they experienced. It's just a bunch of, anyway, I don't know why I got off on that, but where was I?
You were talking about that there are so many things we don't see.
Okay, yeah. So people who see the deceased or experience sensitivity where they feel an entity or something, they're more sensitive. Or they're more psychic to it. They have a better perception. What is that from? I don't know exactly, and that's another subject for another day. But so
So the images you were seeing there, do they remind you of the earth, or was it like very different from? Because when you describe them, I can visualize what you're seeing, but I'm just wondering, does it look like the earth, what you are experiencing?
yes, that was the earth, because he then showed me the Sumerian tablets. And when I saw the Sumerian tablets, I had been there. I touched them. It was as if it was the first day of creation for mankind, and I was there and a part of it. And they were readable and touchable and very shiny. And then he showed me all the pyramids that I wanted to see. I'm sure there's many more that I didn't see, but we saw the ones in Egypt, and then we went to the ones in Machu Picchu, then to up through Mexico. And at that point in time, after we visited every place he knew that I loved, he said to me, "Are you ready to go on?" And I said, "Go where?" He says, "Stretch your arms out in front of you." And he says, he says, "We're going to fly by the speed of thought, not by the speed of light." He said, "But we're going to fly by the speed of thought." He says, "Follow me." So before you know it, we're at Orion's belt
Mm.
off the Earth. And he said to me, this is, you're going to go in the back door here, and you're going to go up a long hallway, and you'll know it when you see it. And I said, okay. Well, what it was a huge, gigantic spaceship, gigantic, up by Orion's belt. And it was as though I recognized it. And why he chose the back door, there wasn't any grand entrance or anything. You know, there were no red carpets rolled out for me. But I remember I went in the back door and I went down this hall, and then I saw the room lit up that I was supposed to go into. And it was very soft and pale. There was a table and chairs, but they had no form. But I telepathy and visually saw them, and so I'm in there. My guide is now behind me. I don't remember him following me, but he's now in the room. But in walks these five beings, and here's where the ETs are. The first one is a very, very, very small gray man who had a mustache, oddly, and he was very friendly and very polite. The second person being, I don't remember. The third being was the color of a blue bird and reminded me of a bird, which later made me think, well, was that Toth? Toth. I don't know. And then the fourth being, I can't remember. But the fifth being was very, very tall, was very pale, and was carrying the books, my books. And I took it that she was a she, and she came into the room, and there was never any eye connection between she and I. She never looked at me. And I kept thinking, why doesn't she look at me? And later on, a friend said, tall whites never look at people. I never knew that because it's a threat to them when you look at them. And so she never gave me a glance, but I kept looking at her thinking, why doesn't she look at me? Anyway, she put the books down, and I guess that's where my life review, and I don't remember it. My thought, I don't remember it, is because there was something in it that was troubling to me, and I have a tendency to forget things when something's bothersome or troubling. That's the only thing I could think, or they didn't want me to remember it. But anyway, that was finished, and they said to me, okay, we're going to take you down the hall and you can have a visit with these beings down here. And that's when I said to them, I didn't have any lights, I didn't have a tunnel, I didn't have angels, and I don't understand. And that's when they all looked at me like, really? Really? And so I thought, okay. And so they took me down the hall to these beings. Okay, before I went down the hall, they had a huge book, and in the book was binary codes, and they told me to read them. A huge book. I said, I don't read binary code, and they said, really? I said, well, I don't. They said, really? And I guess I must have. So they took me down the hall, and the beings, these shorter little ETs, were very fun and having lots of fun. And they were in another spaceship with computers and star charts and everything. And they took that book of binary codes and they burned it on the ground. And they had so much fun with that fire. It's as if they'd never seen fire before. And they had so much fun burning it. I kept thinking, okay. So anyway, they showed me their star charts. They asked me to read them. And I said, okay. I told them all the constellations that I knew. And I have to jump in here that say my father was a navigator in World War II. And he taught me as a little girl how to read the constellations. And so, anyway, I was able to read whatever I knew. And so they took me to the back door and they opened up and they said, "You're free to go wherever you want to go out in the universe." And to me, that was heaven. Okay, that was my heaven. And they said, "You can go anywhere you want." And I said, "Okay." And so I thought, I'm going by myself. And, and, uh, and they said, "You're free. Remember, we fly by the speed of thought." So I'm using that. And before you know it, I'm on the outer skirts of the perimeter of the universe. And do you know it is identical to the pictures that NASA has picked up? I have it in my book somewhere.
Yeah, they
That
recently pinned some pictures. I saw
it,
that.
yeah, it's identical to what they have. Only theirs is in black and white. I have it here. You know, here's the universe, and then here's the center of the universe. It's and
Yeah,
this came
I saw the, yeah.
yeah,
They
this came out before their picture did.
Yeah, it just like a few days ago they published it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes wonder if they didn't take the picture from me. You know. So anyway, meanwhile, now I have to talk to you that all through the whole time I've asked where my family was, my deceased family, and they said, "No worries, there's time." And in the background, I could hear my sister saying, "You got to come home. It's not your time." She said, "I asked our mother." She said, "She told me to tell you it's not your time and you need to come home. You have animals you've got to take care of." And I'm hearing her. And as I drift further and further away from the earth, these things of earth become less and less and less important to me. And it was as if I don't want to hear this. I'm ready to be free. I want to be free. And I'm out there and I can still faintly hear her. "You got to come home." And I can hear my children saying, "Mom, please come back. Please come back." Now, mind you, on the other side, I was never told it's not your time and you got to go back. I was actually given that choice. And I think they must have told me if I choose to come back, that I'm going to be injured. I'm going to have legs that don't work properly now. And I don't have any feeling in my left leg at all. And my right leg is half numb. And my brain injury, and, which is wonderful now. I can't complain. But I came back as a, not as a child, but I had to, learn again. So I must have said, "Yeah, I want to come back," but because I could hear my sister talk about my animals. I started to miss my animals. But meanwhile, I'm by myself, and I notice on another planet is another guy, a young male, and he's probably 25, 30. And I'm thinking that was probably one of my children.
Mm.
I don't know. Um, and I wave at him and he waves at me. There's no conversation. But he says to me eventually, he says, "Are you ready to go back?" And I suppose I said, "Well, yeah, I guess so." And he says, "Okay." He says, "Come on over." And he says, "Okay." I can't remember exactly what, but I jumped into a purple tunnel. He sent me back through a purple tunnel because I complained about not having a tunnel of lights. He sent me back through a purple tunnel and he was kind of laughing and I was laughing. And he says, "Oh, and by the way, don't forget the love. Love is what binds people. That is the glue that all people need. It's love, and you're going to need it for the day and time that we're in." And so that's my basic story.
Do you, how has this experience changed you?
Yeah, and much. 140 degrees. I mean, 180 degrees. I'm sorry. Um, I forgot to mention one thing.
Were you a believer before this incident? Were you a believer?
I'm sorry. Did I what?
Were you a believer before this incident? Did you believe in
Uh,
anything?
I was a Christian believer, and I left that belief in 1998, and I accepted the Gnostic faith, the Gnostic beliefs, and that's what I had going in. And so that would be the beliefs of Inky and Enlil and Anu. And I don't know if you're familiar with all that.
Of course, no, no.
Well, that is the Anunnaki belief system, which is in the book of Enoch.
Mm.
And that's basically what I believed in. That was not too much in it, except the Sumerian tablets, which would have been when the Anunnaki came on the earth and created the human beings, which is what the book of Enoch teaches. Um,
Can you just in short explain for those who watch, and it included myself, what does that Anunnaki teachings are about?
okay, briefly, and you have to read the book of Enoch, which is as hard as the Bible to read, and the book of Philip, and the book of Mary Magdalene. So the book of Enoch is the basic teaching of how the human beings were formed on this earth. And the Anunnaki came from the planet Nibiru, and they were running out of minerals. And so they came to Earth to make find to find minerals. So they created human beings to do their slavery, to do their mining for them. And so they used the human beings to mine gold for them. However, keep this in mind, they really weren't coming here to mine gold. They were coming here to mine human energy.
So the gold was the human energy.
Yeah, and they told us they were coming. They came here to mine gold. They did take some gold and minerals, but what they did was use the human energy of the slaves to send back to their planet. And so they left here the whole concept of religions, all of them. Because if they could enslave human beings with religion, fears, traumas, things that would cause us to believe we were in hell, things that would entrap us, then we're creating the energy that they need most. That fearful energy. And they send it back to their planet. Have you heard this teaching?
No, but I've heard similar things. I didn't know the name of it, and for me, it
Yeah.
sounds like they are not such a nice group of.
Yeah. Yeah. I stay away from a lot of them. I do. Those teachings, because I find a lot of them try to get into the religious part. And I try to stay away from that as much as possible. Because I do believe that we were sent here and we were programmed to have all this fear. And it's controlling. It controls the masses. We see it today. You know, if they can control us, if they can tell us you're going to go to hell if you go outside and you believe in aliens, you're going to hell. Well, you know what? I don't accept that belief. And if you want to believe that, go believe it. But you can put yourself in that, but put your little walls around it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the public who believes that way. And you can believe that little bubble, the age of Pisces. You can be in that and you can relive it, but don't put it on the rest of us because we're free of that.
Sorry, that was your belief before you went there, yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
after you went there, what did you, when you came back, how has your life changed?
That's even stronger. That do like for years I didn't want to hear about Michael the Archangel. I even left groups because of my knowledge, which I don't remember now, of who and what he was, but all the angels were sent here as controllers. They're not exactly as wonderful as people believe they are. We have to look at our innocence and understand that it's being manipulated. And once you get out of their manipulation and you're free of it, then you can see it.
Mm. And
Okay?
how,
Because people are always trying to put that back on you. And hey, I'm free of it. You want to be into that? Be in it. But I'm not. And so I have to put it back on them. And, you can believe whatever you want, but I'm going to believe what I want. You know, and so and I also think we're seeing that in the world right now. And I call them draconian reptiles. These gigantic billionaire uh, people that are taking advantage of girls, children, babies, and doing whatever. And I do believe that that movie Eyes Wide Shut was something sent here to help us to have our eyes wide open, because most of us are living in the eyes wide shut, and we don't want to accept that the draconian reptiles coming from the Anunnakis, who they were, okay, are doing this to us. And it is a control. And they use religion.
so what you're saying is that there are two groups of like beings out there, or maybe more, but they are like there are some good ones and then they are the evil ones.
There, I don't think you can I don't think you can say good, evil, good, bad, beautiful. I mean, it's a circular 360 of everything. Okay, so we can't draw lines and say, oh, this quarter's good. It's all God, even murdering and everything else. But it is and I don't think murdering's okay. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate hearing about women getting violated. I was violated as a child. I don't want to hear this happening to anybody ever again. And I believe the world right now, we're watching politicians and people in government and royalty coming down because this is what they've been into. Their world is shaken right now.
Mm.
And if they can control people using religion, you want to be religious, fine, but try to set yourself free from you're going to hell, or just think of the good things.
So what is God to you then now after this experience?
What is it? What does it have me?
No, what is God? What does God mean to you after?
Okay, okay. God, the word God is small, itty bitty, man made, because it's the supreme being of everything. And God is a word that fits inside the supreme being of all. That is the 360. And God is a little word. And that's my idea of who and what God is.
Would you say that you met God when you were on the other side?
No, I didn't make any person that I would call God or any being. But God is the force. It is the numerical, and I saw mathematics when I was there. It is the mathematics of everything. It is a fractal environment of mathematics. It is ever changing. It is ever evolving.
Mm.
Okay, it's if I could describe God, it's mathematics.
I don't know if
Okay,
you're familiar with Caroline Myss.
I'm
Carol,
sorry.
do you know about Caroline Myss? She's like an intuitive medical reader. She's around 70, I think.
Ah,
She
no.
says that God is law. That is how she describes God. God is
Send him.
law. Yeah.
Send her name to me if you wouldn't mind. I'd
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. She talks about
Yeah,
God as law, like the physical law, the gravity law. She says God is law.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's God is everything.
Mm.
God is actually the 360 of all things.
Mm.
Okay, but it's the God of creating, and it's also the God of destruction. And so when we understand, yeah, murder is wrong, war is wrong, okay, because that's a manipulation of the population. Okay, it's manipulating us to go kill one another, and so they love that energy. Okay, and so, but God is the 360 of understanding all of it. Okay, it's not the doing of it; it's the understanding of it. It's a whole wrap up of knowledge that if somebody goes and murders somebody, you've got the understanding of how did that happen. And I'm not one who likes the death penalty because we got to do our best to try to rehabilitate everybody so that when they leave this earth, they leave more like God. You know, the whole of everything. They understand all of it.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've been very interested in all this kind of stuff. So I've been reading a lot. I see the red thread in everything you say, connected to what I've been reading. Yeah, but I think in the human body is impossible to understand, like how the universe is made and how we are
Mhm.
connected, and like everything you describe, I hear it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
so, but it's just so wild somehow for me.
yeah. It's
Like,
huge.
yeah.
You see, I don't even understand it all. Okay, I just get little elements of it. I mean, I get a lot of things at nighttime when I sleep or when I take naps in the day. However, I was meditating before this program, and all of a sudden, I looked and I could see myself in front of me in vision, and it was a different image of me. It was like I can't even describe her, but it was an image of being extremely truthful to the best of your knowledge, because we can only be as truthful as our knowledge is advanced, or is understanding. We can't have knowledge that we don't understand, that we're not enlightened to. You know what I mean? So so I mean, I can only understand what I can only understand. But I they they reveal things to me all the time. I had an incident the other night. Somebody on the web channel that you and I visit said something about dreaming, and I realize I sound probably crazy when I put this, but when I went to sleep the other night, before I fell asleep, I kind of looked up to the corner of my eye, and I could see a vision, and they're becoming more and more clear to me. But it was the vision of a lion being, which I called the Irma, and it was dressed in royalty. And so I reached up to touch the. In the past, I've been afraid of them, but for the first time, I reached up, and I'm not afraid of you anymore. You know, I, I, So that night, last not last night, the night before, I dreamed a message from that Irma who clothed my family, me first, in this wonderful royal outfit. And then I said, well, please don't leave my family behind. And so before you know it, okay, we'll bring them. And they clothed them. And so that was really a wonderful, wonderful dream. So
So you're still in contact with these beings from the other side. Is that how do I understand you right?
I can't hear them, I sense them. It's all telepathy.
Yeah.
So it's that's a whole nother subject. We could talk about it one day. It uh, I and I've written novels before, But in 2019, I had just finished not in 2019, 2009, I finished a novel, and I had sent it on to the editors. And being a psych nurse, I know about delusions and medications and this and that and the other. So I'm out in the backyard, and it's a beautiful afternoon, and I haven't had anything to drink. I do drink wine on occasion, not very often, but I hadn't had anything to drink, and it's right before Easter time. It's just the brilliance of springtime here. And so I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful outside. I'm by myself, and I look up into the sky, and all of a sudden I saw this huge, in the clouds, a cat face.
Mm.
And I said, oh my God, I'm hallucinating. And I said, I'm not supposed to see this. And so it kept coming, and I kept, don't come. I don't see this. I just refuse to see this. And so um, many years passed, and my near-death occurrence occurred. And in 2022, they came back again as I'm doing Qigong outside in the backyard. I'm going through these movements, and I'm in a meditative state. I look up in the sky, and I'm just taken back because there's this huge, brilliant cat face. Now, mind you, I took a picture of one in the clouds over my back house, and I'll send you that picture. But I'm looking up there, and I'm like, oh, what? And I'm like, I'm not supposed to be going there. But okay, I gave it permission to show up, but I did not communicate with it until 9 months later. And they just kept many of them just kept showing up, and I kept watching. They were in royalty, and I'm just watching. And I'm like, okay, all right. 9 months later, I said, okay, is it okay if I tell people how they can see you too? And they said immediately through telepathy, you can tell whoever you want, but that doesn't mean we'll show up.
Mm.
So it was always in the warmth of the sunshine, because I was always in the sunshine. I was always meditating, and that's when they show up. And so then one day I'm outside, and I look over my bedroom, and I see an unusual cloud, and I take a picture of the cloud, and a friend of mine takes that cloud and reverses the image, and there is a cat in my cloud. And it's like, oh wow.
So it is the same kind of like the same shape you saw in your bedroom the other night, yeah?
Yeah,
Like,
yes, the same thing.
yeah.
I mean, I sound like I'm delusional. Sounds like I'm crazy, but I mean that is what that has been. I hate saying that. Sounds like I'm crazy, but that's what I've been seeing a lot lately. And those beings are called Irmas, URMAH, and they are ET beings.
You were talking about that your life has changed a lot.
Yes,
How
yes.
is, how, how
Yeah.
is your life now?
Okay. Okay, so when I came back, I'm in the hospital, and I'm not eating. And they said to me, why aren't you eating? I said, because I'm a vegetarian. I wasn't a vegetarian when I went in there. All of a sudden, I'm a vegetarian. And I now eat chicken and fish on occasion and for healthy reasons, because my red blood cells have been low and with anemia, and I battle that quite often. But um, so um, my political views changed 100%.
Mm.
Um, my I wrote some things down. I just can't remember them. I mean, my my views grew to where I can understand them. Um,
Your relationships, how are they now?
they are fewer,
Mm.
but I also have autism. I needed to put that in there. I was diagnosed with autism after my experience, but I was almost autistic before I went into it. So um, autism has a, you know, kind of a hard social
Yeah.
content to it. But the friends that I have now are they're truly understanding, and I can tell them anything. Um, and they're deeper commitments,
Mm.
you know. Um, and by the way, I want to back up when I'm telling you before my religious views and people put them in a box. I wasn't speaking to you directly.
No, 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 no.
Please,
Yeah,
okay, please understand that.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of got carried away, and so I'm just that part of me is definitely 100% changed
Mm.
for the way that I believe. And I believe that we perceive things, and that's our experience.
Do you think that we are made like I don't know the name in English, like we are made differently? Because I was having actually a talk with a nurse earlier today, and I said I'm going to interview you, and I was
Uh-huh.
asking her that if she believes in soul. Do you believe in soul? And she was like, no, but she thought that we are maybe made differently, not in an anatomical way, but that we have like different wiring system.
Oh yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I do believe that there are hybrid people. I believe that I'm possibly one of them. I believe my father was, and that's a whole nother story because that's a whole nother story. But I believe we're all hybrids because of the Anunnaki. However, some of us are a little more than others. And I believe I'm one of them, and I believe that's why I was visited by them. Um, I believe that's why I think differently. Um, and I'm here to tell you that, you know, everybody's screaming, let's have alien, let's expose them, let's reveal them to the public. Well, that's fine. But you got to understand that not all alien beings are good. The universe is filled with those that don't mean good intent for us. And that would be like the draconian reptilians that we see in our governments now. Okay? And so we don't need any more of that. We need to be who we are, you know. We don't need to be controlled or ruled by anybody. We need to be set free from all that. And I don't know if that answers your question. I think I got way off.
Yeah, yeah, somehow it does. I mean, you just, it resonates very much with Bashir. I was listening to him the other night and he was talking
Uh,
about, but he believes that all of the aliens,
oh,
he thinks
yeah.
they're all good. So it's kind of
Uh-huh.
different from you, but I guess, yeah, like what you said, we have different perceptions, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all do.
Hmm.
You know, we all do. And that's why NDEs, they're also different because we all perceive differently.
Hmm. And how does people around you, just to maybe wrap it up, think of what
They, I
expect?
think they're a little afraid of me. I live in Galveston, Texas. And so it's an island of 50,000 people. And I'm not for sure they know how to interact with me. But then again, I think I have some friends here that are, hey,
Hmm.
and they're not of the religious community, obviously, but they um, they seem to receive me very well.
How do you use your connection now today do you use it somehow to help humanity or to, I don't know, to getting messages, channeling or,
How will I use it?
yeah.
Well, you said something initially that opened up a new way of thinking for me, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was one of your original questions, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a new insight from coming from. I asked them to help me, not channel, but help me with my answers. And so I think that it opened up something new for me. And as soon as I know what it is, I'll let you know. I can't remember.
Sounds very good. Yeah,
But
thank you.
I do have to tell you that one spot, because I think this is important, because it has to do with consciousness. During my near-death experience, I did see pods,
Mm.
and I painted them. And the one of the podcasts that I sent you of two women interviewed me, they asked me, why is it after your NDE you painted those pods different colors? Why didn't you leave them your original colors? And I really had to think about that. And the reason is because the color of them reminded me of the book in the Matrix, the pods that you see. And I saw it in my near death experience, and it kind of frightened me because it wasn't as if we're there with tubes coming out of our body or any of that, but they're channeling frequencies more than tubes and horrible things. But it's like, okay, we are in these pods, and it's in my book. Um, we ha- in the after we are actually in the afterlife. Our consciousness is sitting in a pod in the afterlife right now, and we are channeling, programming our different lives that are going on.
So when you say we are our consciousness, is that what they call soul? Is the same?
Okay, the soul is who we are. I guess it is our consciousness, and our spirit is the electricity.
Okay.
Okay, and so the spirit, soul, and body. The body is us, you know, and so the electricity is the frequency coming into us from the outside. When we die, that frequency to living is cut off,
Okay.
and we're on another frequency at that point. But so in that consciousness, we are using frequency to live this life.
Mm. And you're saying that we're having different lives, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, like we're sitting over there. Believe it or not, we're on the other side, and whether we have another life going on at the same time, or in the past, or in the future, or wherever we are, our consciousness, we may see it in our dreams. We may be dreaming of another place, or but our consciousness is directing this.
Mm.
And so we're not directed by our hearts. Our heart is our feelings and our emotion, and possibly our intuition. I'm not sure, because I think our intuition blends with our frequency, to get the information that we need.
Mm, mm, mm.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
If people want to find your book, what's the name of your book?
I dropped it on the floor here. This is my near-death experience book.
Yeah, okay.
It's on Amazon. Some people there, if you scan that, and if you can't get that by scan, please let me know, because I've had some people have problems with it lately, and I've had some problems with Amazon lately, so need to get that straightened out.
Mm.
So anyway, and that is it in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
For,
You're very welcome. And thank you for asking me. I really appreciate you.